Okay, so let's get started. And so I'll go back to my IntelliJ idea. So let's get started with the very fundamentals of testing our code. How do we test our code? So see this. You have something out here called test folder. You might have seen this. There is a test folder out here, right? Within Java, you have exactly the same package, right? Within the test, this is the main. Main is the folder in which you have got the main source code. Test is the folder in which you have the test related source code. So the code out here, which is under the test folder, will be used in order to test the code that you have written in the main folder. So within main you have Java, within test you have Java. Within Java you have this package, here also you have the same package. Well, it is not necessary that the name of the packages must be exactly the same, but it helps. It helps in properly structuring and organizing and arranging your classes that you use to test. Okay, that's how it is. So now what we will do is we will start creating the test cases. Okay, as you can see over here, all of these are the different classes that we have created. We have got controller classes, we have got the DAO classes, we have got the we've got the model classes, we've got the services. Tell me one thing, have we written any specific logic in the model classes? No. We have written customer repository for sure, and there can be other methods also written in customer repository which we are going to come to. So, yeah, which we are going to come to for sure. We will be doing this later. But then I can very well test the repositories. I can test the customer DAO classes, which is a better way to start with. I can start, in general, a blanket statement would be I must test all my DAO classes. Then individually I must test my services, so in order to check whether this business logic that I have implemented here works fantastic or not. And then finally I must also test my controller classes so that everything else is tested. And when I test my controller class, it's kind of an integration test. I repeat, it's a kind of an integration test. Why? Because your controller class talks to the service talks to the DAO talks to the repository, and then it gets the data or updates and deletes the data. And from here, from the customer controller class here like this, okay, we will be able to test end-to-end test right from the controller class. So if this works well, for example, if this is the method that works well, then everything else also works well, because this in turn is dependent on the other stuff. Am I right or not? You're getting the point? Correct? This is how it is. So we will now start writing test cases. To let's get started with the DAO classes. If I wanted to test the DAO class, so in the same package I will create a package within this package called DAO. Same, as I said here, it's always advisable that the package structure here in the main and the package structure here is same. I repeat, though it's not mandatory, but it's always advisable and better to do it. Within this, see the name of the class that I am giving. I am saying customer DAO. No, I'll say customer DAO test. Right? I am saying customer DAO test. This is what I have. And then here, I will write a function. I repeat, I will write a function. For example, I will write a function public void. This will always be void. All your test cases will always be void. They will never ever return any value. Never. Correct? Because it's not supposed to. It will be invoked by your Jenkins. You remember this? It will be invoked by your Jenkins eventually. This is what Jenkins is going to invoke, this, isn't it? And when Jenkins invokes this, then what? There is no one sitting over there to get the value back, right? So these are your servers. Let me put this in different color. And this is your Bitbucket repository. Okay. Here you are. Okay. Fine. So coming back, this is your main business application. Right, this is a main business application, isn't it? Okay, so coming back here, you will say I wanted to test what? So in customer DAO, what are the functions we have written in customer DAO? What are the functions that we have written in customer DAO? We have written in customer DAO, these are the functions. For example, we have written a function called get customers. What is this supposed to do? Get me the list of all the customers. So what will I write? I'll say get underscore customers underscore test. Or else, people follow different naming conventions for the test cases. You can also say when. This is one of the naming conventions which is very much, I've seen many people doing this, and even I, love writing test cases like this. It has been long since I have written test cases. My team writes test cases these days now. Okay, so I say when underscore get underscore customers. Okay, this helps. That means when I invoke get customers, then, okay, I'm expecting results. Then list of customers. Then list of, I must get the list of customers. Then get list. Okay, that's what I'm expecting. Or else whatever you want, you can say then and whatever is the condition. So looking at the function name itself, you must be able to understand what exactly that test is going to be for, isn't it? That's what you need to do. So what am I going to do here now? I am going to test it. How will I test it? I'll say customer DAO. I need customer DAO. In order to do it, I need the reference of the customer DAO. So I'll say customer DAO like this. I will do this. And then I say @AutoWired is important. Why is AutoWired important? Why is AutoWired important? That AutoWired is important so that I get a reference to it, because if I do not get a reference to it, then in that case things will not work. Things will exactly not work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a null pointer exception here. So I'll say list of customer. You see this customer. Okay, this is supposed to be a list. I'll say customers is equal to, I will write customer DAO dot get customers. Right? And now so far so good. This is so far so good. This is a good thing, right? What I've done here. But then if I execute, how does it understand? Your Spring Boot or your entire framework does not understand that this is a unit test case. Where did I tell my Spring Boot that this is a unit test case? I did not tell my Spring Boot at all that this is a unit test case. Okay, so let's go step by step. I'll just comment this for now. And I will comment this line of code as well. Right, and then I will write something like this. I'll say int x is equal to 5. I'll say int y is equal to 10. Okay, and I want this to be executed as a test case, right? And I write here assert, right? What does assert mean? I want to assert that so and so thing is true. I want to assert. So I can always write assert, or else you can say asserts. You can see this, you have assert dot. There are many options out here. There are many ways of checking it. Okay, and then you also have something like SLC does not contain, is assignable, and then is null, is true. So let me take is true. I'll say what is true? I'll say y is greater than x. Correct? Now this is deprecated. So what is, still we can use it. I'm downloading the source code. Okay. Deprecated as of in favor of is true boolean string. So that's okay. That's okay, because I have not yet passed a string here. So that is the reason it's telling me. I'll say comma. The string is x is supposed to be greater than, y is supposed to be greater than x. I hope you are all there with me, friends. All there with me? Okay, good. So I'm going very step by step. I'm going step by step. Otherwise, I could have rushed through these topics. I could have rushed through the entire thing. But then, do you like that fast track, that the one that I had done on 5th day? 4th or the 5th day, I had done a fast track. I think it was Thursday. You want that? Many topics covered, all covered in 2 minutes, or 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes. This is what you want? No, correct? So what I'm focusing on is this. See, friends, honestly, my dear friends, see, I understand, and I am very passionate about it, and I really like, and it happens with me. All praises be to God the Almighty. People, I do trainings for people. I would like to share this with you. I love to share this. Okay. Who is he? And in which company? Who is he? In which company? I'll just give you some few examples. He's Oracle, and he's a director in Oracle. He's a director in Oracle, trained by me. Okay, trained by me. Okay, many such, many people, and Priyanka. No, not this Priyanka. Well, छोड़ो अभी ढूंढना पड़ेगा. MD Ikram. MD Ikram is in a very senior position in HSBC Bank, and then you have many such people. All right, Nawab, Muhammad Nawab. He is in UK. Now, and he is working for, again, a very big company. He's in UK Home Office. Home offices in UK. Home offices, like they handle healthcare and loads of other things. It's like, it's a government organization. So people have reached to places. Yes. Point that I'm trying to make is that it's my passion, and what I try to explain to you is, things in such a way that from there onwards, all the other topics must become simplified for you. It must become easier for you to understand the other things. Beyond whatever we are discussing, certainly, you will be going through some documentation, you will be going through articles, you will be doing self-learning, you will be watching some videos on YouTube, you will be doing loads of things. Come on, yes or no? After this 15 days of training, does the learning stop? Or is that the complete learning? Impossible. You will be doing loads of learning. Come on, yes or no? So all that learning that you will do, it must be easier for you to understand those articles, those videos, that literature, some books. That if you are reading a book or an article or whatever, it must be easier for you to understand that. That is what my objective is. So I'm setting up your it's kind of a building block that we are working towards, on top of which you will be able to understand everything else all on your own. Coming back to the point here, so I'm seeing asserts, so I'm going step by step. Now this is not a test case at all. As you can see, I'm not getting any option, no option given by the IDE in order to run my test cases. So what I'm going to do here, I'll say @test. You can see this here, @test. Now where is this @test annotation coming from? Where is this @test annotation coming from? It's coming from pom.xml. In pom.xml file, you see, whenever you create a project, by default this IDE includes this dependency called SpringBoot starter test. Please make a note of this. It includes by default. If it is not there, you can include, no problem. If it is not there, then also everything else that we have written will work still. See, if it is not there, I won't get any compilation error except for this class now, because here I have used an annotation which is there in the library that comes from this. You see this SpringBoot starter test. If I refresh this, because I have removed it from pom.xml file, now this is going to give me a compilation error. This @test is no longer there. You see, this is giving me a compilation error. You can see this. If I comment this, okay, fine, everything else works. No compilation error anywhere. You see this in my source code here. Everything works. You see, nothing, no problem at all. Okay, no problem at all. You see, no compilation errors. That's fine. So if you don't want to write test cases at all, which is a very bad thing, then in that case you don't need to include this. You may remove the dependency. But then, yes, in real life application development in companies like PwC, you cannot deliver code without test cases. Right? You have to deliver code with test cases. So I refresh this once again, and you see I have now started test 2.5.1 from Spring Boot, and all the other the hierarchy of libraries. The hierarchy of libraries are all over here. You can see this. You've got test and you've got auto configure. All of these things are there. This is the core file. This is the you see JUnit Jupyter. This is the core file. Then you've got Mockito as well, and we are going to talk about Mockito as well as we proceed further. You got that? We're going to talk about Mockito as well as we proceed further. Got that? So I'm going to close this, and this is a test case. Now understand this, so I will once again use Ctrl+Shift+O so that this gets imported. Okay, otherwise import class, this gets imported, no errors at all. Why? Because I did include this, right? So I have my import. So I hope you're getting the point that it is this dependency which brings these set of libraries, and one of those libraries contains this org.junit.jupyter.api.test. I hope now you're clear from where are we getting this test case. Now I can just simply run this, my dear friends. I can run this and tell me, will the test case fail or it's going to pass? It is going to fail or it's going to pass. What do you think? Y is greater than 10. So now when I click over here, you see it does not give me an option to run main function or something, but it gives me an option to, you see this run test cases. You can see this here, run test, it gives me an option. Now once I have run the test case over here, you see this here, I can run it again and again, and it very clearly tells me the tests have passed. How many tests? One of test it has passed, and in 8 milliseconds. Perhaps I have multiple test cases here. Perhaps I have multiple test cases, and then if I say when customers instead of then, okay, get, then I'll say customer object, right? Then customer, and then non_null_ customer. Okay, that means I need a non-null customer if I fire this. Now how many test cases do I have? I have 2 test cases. I can run this one, I can run this test case. Again this runs, and this also, because it's the same source code that we have over here, one of our test cases has executed. Now you see this entire class here itself, run DAO customer test. Now if I do this, it will run both the test cases, and it says 2 of 2 test cases pass. Got that? Now see what is going to happen here. I'll say Y is in this particular test case is supposed to be lesser than, which is not the case. Now this particular test case is going to pass or fail. What do you think? It is going to pass or fail. So I run this, and now I don't need to go right on the top of the class and then stop. So you see this test case has passed, so it very clearly tells me. So it very clearly tells me one of 2 test cases have, one test case 1 failed, passed 1 of 2. So all in all 2 test cases, this has failed, and it very clearly tells you y is supposed to be greater than x. What is this message, friends? Where is this message coming from? It is coming from here. This message is coming from here. Y is supposed to be greater than x. Whatever message I give, that will be the message. If at all it fails, this is the assertion. Right, this is the assertion message. This is the assertion message that I get on the console, and this will get logged. So this is how you write test cases. Can you try your hands on this, friends? Come on, you've got to be fast on this. Come on. कितना टाइम लगेगा यार? Come on, ये लिखने में जल्दी बताओ. कितना टाइम लगेगा बताओ? 5 minutes. Don't write any of these things. Just write this. Don't worry about this list and stuff and all. Just write these 2 test cases and run them all. See, Pappu hai yaar, come on. What do you mean by Pappu? Pappu means simple, easy. Okay. Yep. Come on, get started. Shouldn't take more than 5 minutes for you to write this. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's continue. Okay, step by step. So please see this. Now, what I want to do is that, of course, these are not the kind of test cases that we will be writing. All there with me, friends? Come on, can we continue? Can we continue, friends? Yeah. So you see this. These are not the kind of test cases that we will be writing, isn't it? So let me keep this test case as it is, and let me, once again go back and make it greater than, so that this, succeeds. But here what I want to do is that I actually really want to, get the list of customers. Okay, then get customer. I'll say get customer list. Okay, then get customer list. This is what I want. So how do I do this now? Of course I will need, and I want to test my customer DAO. That's what the name of my class is. Okay, so I'll just comment all of this, and then I'll come here and I need to do customer DAO, isn't it? I need to put customer DAO here, and I need to put this, I need to auto wire it, isn't it? This is what I need to do. I need to auto wire it. So far so good. I need to auto wire it. Correct? Nice. Right? I need to auto wire. And then here, what will I do? I'll say customer DAO dot, I'll say get customers. What will this return to me, friends? List of customer. This is what it's going to return to me. List of customers is equal to, this is what I'm going to get, isn't it? Right, this is what I'm going to get. And what will be my assertion? My assertion is that customers dot size is greater than 0. So if this was successful, I will certainly get some data from the database, correct? And I will check whether that, and if at all I'm not getting the data, okay, expected more than 0 rows, okay, objects, I would say. I'm dealing with objects, 0 objects, expected more than 0 objects. This is what my test case is, isn't it? This is what my test case is. So typically a test case, now listen to this very carefully, friends, all with me, come on, please see, listen to this. Typically a test case is a test case such that, you write code in the test case in such a way that you test a particular functionality of a component. I repeat, you test a particular functionality of a component. Here the component is customer DAO. I'm just loosely using the term component. You may call it a Java bean, you may call it a Spring Bean, you may just call it a component or whatever. So, this is a class anyways, right? And this is a class. So this is the component, and the functionality that I'm testing of this component is what? What is the functionality that is being tested? Come on, I have highlighted. Please put it over there, at least 2-3 of you very quickly. What is the functionality that I'm testing on customer DAO component? Get customers, correct? This is the functionality that I am testing. So you will test the functionality. It will return some value back. And when it returns the value back, you will check whether the value that it returns back is as per your expectations or not. That's called assertion. I repeat, that's called assertion. You will test whether the data that is returned back is as per expectations or not. You got that? In some cases, you may have some functionality which will not return a value back. Okay, possible, right? It may not return, it may be a void, and it may not return some value back, which is also okay. But if everything completes successfully, if at all there is an exception, it will throw an exception. It will say that your test case has failed. But otherwise, at least if everything goes smooth and if nothing, there is no exception at all, anyways, the assertion is true. You got that? So this is how you write test cases. You do not write huge logic in test cases. No, you don't do that. You don't write huge logic here. You write logic in such that, okay, in some cases there must be some complexity. Hello. Please do not think that it will always be 2 lines or 3 lines. No, there can be 4 lines, 5 lines, 10 lines. Maybe in some cases it is really very complex, because if you are suppose saving an invoice, I repeat, if you are saving an invoice, you will check whether the invoice was created in the database. You will assert that the inventory is depleted. You will assert that an accounting entry is created, because at the time of creating an invoice, all of these things are happening. So maybe your logic is complex. Maybe your logic is really very complex. Correct? So this is what it is. You must write code over here which will ensure that the functionality that is invoked, after invoking that functionality, the state of the system is exactly as per the expectations. That's what a test case is. So now let's proceed further. I have customer DAO over here, and then I have written the test case. It is marked as test case, isn't it? I'm going to now run this and I'm going to get an error. All with me, friends? I'm going to run this and I will get an error. See the error that I'm going to get. Please see the error that I'm going to get. You see this? What is the error? On which line number? What is the error? What is the error? Come on, come on. You can see this, right? Null pointer. It's a null pointer exception. Why? Because this is null. Hello friends, this is null. Customer DAO is null. When you invoke customer DAO.get customer, see this exactly at this, on this line, it says find why customer DAO could be null. You got to find that out. Okay. This IDE is smart. So once again, you see this, if I run this code, if I run this test case, it runs it, but it says customer DAO is null. Correct? It's null. Why is this null? Though I have given auto wired, why is this null? I will be very happy if you give me this answer. Why is this null? Why do you think this is null? Tell me. Why do you think this is null? Any idea? No, Anindya, we do have over here @ component, isn't it? Achha, you mean to say this is @ component? This is not a component though. This is not a component. This is not a component. I will be very happy. And I'm giving you hints here. See, my server is running. And this is running. No, good try, Anand. Good try. No, Monisha, why would I use @ component over here? And even if I do it, it will fail. See this, try and understand this point. Okay. Right, please see this. Unit test. Now, when you write your application, this is your application. Okay, this is your application. This is your application. And this application that you have written, I can very well call it a Spring application. When you write the Spring application, this runs on a particular port, it's running, that's fine. But this, when running on port 8081, this is a different process altogether. This is a different process running on your machine. Whereas, please take a look, so you have a different process running, whereas the test case is a different process. It starts all on its own in a different process altogether. So when you run your test case, which is written in the same application, Spring application, but then when you're running your test case, right, test case in same application, test cases, when you run the test cases, that's running in a different process altogether. So these two processes are different. It cannot access the objects that are over here. In short, your SpringBoot application or a Spring application is different than the test case application that you have written over here. Your test cases are supposed to run in its own environment. So there is no Spring container running over here. Hello. The test case otherwise earlier had worked because I did not use any Spring components. Friends, please note this. Here I am using @AutoWired, but I am expecting Spring container to get started, and I am expecting that the injection must happen. Your Spring container, I think someone is not on the mute mode. Please go on mute mode, friends, all of you all. Please go on mute mode. Thank you. So when the Spring container, or when I expect my Spring container to inject this, so there must be some Spring container running, isn't it? Hey guys, I think who is not on the mute mode? This is a disturbance. Please, 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 please. All of y'all, please go on mute mode. I have not been made host. It seems I am not the host. Please make me the host, friends. Who's the host? Gaurav, make me the host, please. Please make me the host. Okay, please make me the host. Anyways, let me continue in the meanwhile. So you see this, there is no Spring container here at all. It's just simply runs without the Spring container. And if there is no Spring container started, I repeat, if there is no Spring container started, I repeat once again, if there is no Spring container started, how will it use, or how will it create a customer DO component and inject the dependency here? It will not. It will not create a component here. It will not create a component called customer DAO. If it doesn't create a container called component called customer DAO, how will it do the injection? Hence this is null. Hence this is null out here. You got this, friends? Hence this is null. So you must start a container. How do you start a container? You will say @SpringBoot test. It's a SpringBoot test. I am telling my test JUnit test framework, I am telling my framework that this is a SpringBoot test. Now when I do this, it knows that it is supposed to start the container. It knows that if it starts the container, it will instantiate all of those components, right? All of these, it will instantiate everything: customer repository, product repository. It will instantiate this as a component. It will instantiate all of these as, it will understand that these are the entity classes. It will instantiate these controllers and everything else. It will instantiate everything. You got that? It will instantiate everything. You got that? I'm emphasizing on this. It will instantiate everything. The entire Spring container starts. And now I'm expecting that now when I run this, what will happen? See the console now. See the console now. See the console. See the console, my dear friends. See the console. And it now succeeds. What does this mean? Take a look at this console and tell me, what do you make out of this console? What did it do? And I am stopping this server. Again, my test case, running of my test case and running of the server has got nothing to do with each other. Try and understand. Very important point, my dear friends. Don't miss this. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask those questions. I am a developer. I have my machine. I am writing my code. I write my unit test cases. I may start the server. I may start that local server, that Tomcat server. I may start that Spring application and I may test fine, okay. But then when I put my code here to Bitbucket, when Jenkins is going to pick up this code from here, when it pulls the code and when it runs the test cases, where is the server? This is on, come on here, this is maybe on AWS, or maybe this is on Azure, or maybe this is on, some other cloud infrastructure. Whereas this is my local machine. I mean, it is not going to start any server, right? Automatic, or it will not refer to any server. So the server that you start here, the application that you start, is totally different as compared to the test cases that you run. So if you see that this is a SpringBoot test, then it knows that it is supposed to start your container. Which container? The Spring container. And once the Spring container starts, I am emphasizing on the point, when the Spring container starts, it will start the entire container and it will instantiate all the components and services and controllers. Come on, yes or no? It will instantiate. If the Spring container is starting full-fledged, wouldn't it really create or instantiate all the components and controllers and services and repository? Come on, yes or no? Come on, friends, yes or no? It will instantiate. All with me? Yes, it will instantiate. And if it instantiates and if it has the reference in the container, it will be okay with it. It goes without saying that it will successfully inject the dependency here as a result of this thread auto-wired. And when this test case is executed, you see customer.size, it is greater than 0. If you say it must be equal to 0, then in that case, this test case will now fail or it will pass. Tell me, will it fail or it will pass? Come on, I'm saying it must be equal to 0. Whereas in the database, I have 3 rows. In fact, more than 3. Come on, fast. Pass, Anand. Oh my God. It's going to pass. Plain English, right? I'm saying, is it true that the size must be equal to 0? That the size of the customer is equal to 0, but when it retrieves the data from the database, is it 0? Do I have 0 rows in the database? I have 5 rows in the database. So this will fail or this will pass. If you're saying this is going to pass, and then earlier also I said it is greater than 0, that also passes, then come on, illogical, right? Okay, maybe there was a lag in the screen, I understand. Maybe there is a lag in the screen. Okay, now when I run this, see you. Alright, again it starts the container, it uses customer DAO, but this time what fails? There is no exception as such. Assertion has failed. On this line, can you see this? On this line, sorry. On this line it has failed. Can you see this is true? This line, the assertion has failed. You got that? See, expected more than 0. Of course, whatever the message is. So I'm going to go back and make it greater than 0 because that's what I know and that's how it is supposed to be. So please explain again, if the two are separate process, how is the Spring container injected when it starts? Because of this magic. Take a look. If I don't give this, the Spring container will not be started. But if I give this, the Spring container starts. That's what the point was. That's what I was emphasizing on. Isn't it? Isn't it? No problem, Anand. I understand. You can see this @SpringBoot test. I hope Anikendu you're clear. So for all of you, see Anikendu has got a question. I hope the question is answered, Anikendu, and rest of y'all also. How does my test case know that it is supposed to start a Spring container? By using @SpringBoot test. Then it starts. If I don't do this, it doesn't start. Now when I run this, please see. Now when I run this, you see, it has not started my container, and hence this is null. Hence this is null. Come on, I want you to do this on your machines first without the Spring Boot test and write the same code. Come on, it shouldn't take more than 5 minutes, and then it should fail. It must give you null pointer exception, and then you uncomment this and run your test case. It must succeed successfully. Come on, do this. Shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Come on, fast. All with me, friends? Come on. So this is what I want you to do next. I want you to, instead of this, just remove this here. I want you to write a test case. Please see. Okay. Write a test case to, okay. Write a test to check whether the customer DAO.get customer in brackets 101 works as per expectations or not. Come on, you must do this. You must be able to do this. Okay, and then take a lunch break. So you have now 1 hour 10 minutes with you. Complete this in 10 minutes, more than sufficient. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes actually. You figure out what would be, how would you fire the statement and what will be necessary. Just 2 lines of code. It wouldn't be anything more than 2 lines of code. You need to figure out what will be the condition and what will be the message. This is the main thing. You need to figure out what will be the condition and what will be the message, and then this is what you're going to test. Like the way we have tested this, you need to test this, and then you take a lunch break. We will be back at 2 p.m. Right, friends? Today we will take an early lunch break. Is that okay with all of you, friends? We will resume at 2. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, friends. Thank you.